Hi, Kevin Blanch. I want to put up a video so you people understand and have money in 401k. It's a concept called putting down the gate. In 2008, when this thing started to melt down, in the spring of 2000, I was managing two people's endowments, and I said, look, when I see Bear Stearns and them start to fold, I said, this is a house of cards that's coming down. Now, I didn't think it would be anything to this extreme. I begged these guys to get out. Now, let me tell you about the Bernie Madoffs of the world, what Bernie Madoff was doing. When I was on Wall Street, there were people screaming their heads off that Bernie Madoff was a fake. Nobody wanted to listen, including investors, because he was playing the religion card like they do here. We had a guy named Southwick right here that did the same thing. At the same time, I was putting my own fund together in the early 2000s. I couldn't raise any money, but all these people threw the money to this scheme and scam. A guy like me with all this freaking, experience, all this knowledge as far as, and I mean, I'm a well-protected, very conservative funds I worked for years, but they threw him, hundreds of millions of dollars and let him burn it up, just like Madoff, because he played the religion card. And people are blind when it comes to their money and religion, which is a sad commentary that people take advantage of that, but the people that are handing over the money, please, come on. I mean, this guy here preyed on little old ladies. They're scumbags, but that's becoming vogue in this country in the last decade. Bush stole the election. Every scheme and scammer come out of the basement. White-collar crime become, in vogue. I mean, it would have been unheard of, absolutely unheard of in American culture for all these years for some, religious figure to rob a little old lady. But that's what these scumbags did. And they got away with it. They forged mortgage papers, and they all got away with it. It blows my mind. The Justice Department hasn't nailed any of these guys. I mean, the local mortgage broker, the 401k scammers, the schemers, on the local level, there's your scammers. The AIG scammers who did book the bets and didn't pay the bets. I'll get away with it. But here's something that people don't understand. I believe, personally, there were thousands of Madoffs, mutual fund guys out there, because I've been in that industry, and I know most mutual fund guys do not even watch the market. They do not even work. They build a matrix, okay? They build a computerized matrix. Say they got $1 billion in that fund. They pretty well know through the running regression how much money's coming in, how much is going out. Now, they build into that matrix worst-case scenarios. Worst-case scenarios was a negative 10% for years. So they have enough money sitting in that fund. Well, as that fund, over 30 years, never had dramatics, that matrix number, they started lowering it because of their own greed, got clear down to 5% worst-case scenario. That means, in worst-case scenario, 5% more was going out than was coming in. That's how these things are built. Well, so they have all this gargantuous sum of money sitting here. They can do whatever they want with. And people think, oh, no, they can't. Oh, yes, they can. It's called window dressing. By law, at the end of the quarter, when your 401k statement hangs out and they list what they own, is the only time they have to own it. It's called window dressing. People used to trade it on at the end of the quarters for decades. It became a very involved trading mechanism and tool for technicians in the 90s. Now, I'm a fundamentalist guy, but the technicians went, boy, it did work then. Yeah, a lot of you technicians know it worked then. It's called window dressing. These guys don't have to own, and they don't. So what do? They buy the indexes. They buy the QQQ, they buy the Spider, they buy whatever. Something that's safe. So when you come back to them, that's why 80% of all fund managers underperform the market. 80% underperform. Why? Because they buy the indexes and the fee going in and out, there's your underperform. Oh, the Dow's down 40% and you're down 42%? Oh, and people accept that. And then they look at, oh, God, you own Apple, you own IBM? There's been plenty of studies that show all the different mutual funds that are out there. Different, this is a cyclical, this is a consumer staple, this is technology. When it comes right down to it, they all own the same 10 stocks. And it's been true for decades, and there's study after study to prove that. Because they window dress at the end of the quarter. Then that money just sits there. They throw it in the bond market, just lay it there, or they put it in some, index. They don't even play ETFs. I mean, they'll buy the QQQs, they'll buy, whatever. And then they'll go lay on the beach and travel around. They don't give a damn. Now, there's certain mutual fund managers that do, that consistently beat the market. The guys that I used to work for, that fund has beat the market. They're unbelievable how good they are, but, they got smart and replaced me with a computer. That's what the flash crash was all about. We as hedge fund guys, as derivative specialists, I was an arbitrage derivative specialist, we have been replaced by computers. That's why I've been out of work. And that's why I've been doing the things that I've been doing, being creative and dynamic, because I lost both my careers. I lost my derivative trading career because the computer replaced me, and I lost my plastering business because a hungry person from the South replaced me. You know, I said for years, I was okay when I had to outwork 5 men. When I had to start out working 10, it got a little freaking dicey. When I started out working 15, I fell off a roof and broke my back and severed my tongue and was critical, couldn't walk. You like that scar? I was level 5 critical condition for a long time because I was going too fast and I ain't trying to outwork 15 men because I had a family to raise. But anyway, these guys, when this happens, this matrix, well, they have a law called putting down the gates. Putting down the gate. Now, what does putting down the gate mean? People didn't believe me. I used to say this all the time. Look, the Bernie Madoffs are all like, they don't even have your money. I think there were thousands of Madoffs in the mutual fund industry, but they got lucky. They got lucky. When this thing melted down, instead of 5% wanting out, there were numbers as high as 60% wanted out, which would have absolutely crushed the markets, which maybe should have happened, whatever, way worse than they did. You've got to realize the Dow went under 7,000 quickly. I mean, this was a dramatic crash, not to mention weighted against the dollar. Well, you know, and you watch my other videos, I get into that. But, okay, so they had to run. Why didn't they? I'll tell you why. Because they put down the gate and you couldn't get out. They said, nope. Is that legal? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. It's called putting down the gate. The mutual funds threw down the gate. You can't get out. You kept punching your computer screen, calling on the phone. Nope. Nope. They wouldn't let you out. And they got lucky. Because they could put down the gate up to a year. Some laws say up to 2 years. So they put it down for a year. Oh, you can't get your money out. Your own money. You're stuck in there. So as time calmed down, 6 months later, 9 months later, times cooled down. A year later, they started to slowly raise the gate and the panic had cooled. Now, you're saying, well, I'm glad I did. It came back to 12,000. You could have got out then, bought gold. You could have got out then, bought a foreign currency. Could have got out of I don't know. But I think it's a nightmare that they're able to do this. I've railed against it for decades and years. And you think this is something new? In '94, when Gingrich had his contract on America, that's when these things, and this was Greenspan's baby. And I'll get into that more and more and more. This was Greenspan's baby, free marketplace, free market. He was an Ayn Rander. And if you think greed does not need to be regulated, you're a fool if you believe that. Greed must be regulated. Kevin Ranch.